Discipline your thoughts. Stop thinking too much. Don't go into the past. Don't go into the future. Be in the present. Why? Because only then it's possible that the mind is free, the capacity is free, and now you can completely immerse into whatever you are doing. And this means you have arrived.
No pain, no gain. We are not superhuman. We are not perfect. But I know that every time I face something and I feel, okay, I'm not good enough at the moment, at least I know what needs to be done. And so for me, in a way, every time I face something, every time I'm being exposed to a new challenge, every time when I feel it's a challenge, it only tells me there again is a chance now to grow, let's say. Now, of course, some people might say, yeah, but what's the point of this growing? What do you mean by growing? Why would I always need to accept every challenge just for the sake of growing? Because this growing is the opposite of something is decreasing, something is dying, something is closing up. To grow, to open up, is the same as to bring light into the things. It doesn't matter what challenges it is that you are facing there. It is the fundamental principle behind it that you do not run away. That you are open for everything that is being thrown at you. It is this type of mindset to also understand, I didn't ask for an easy life. I take what comes. If it leaves, I let it pass. A mindset that I think is paying off later, big times, is when you're starting to incorporate into your daily life, into the daily perspective and understanding that this world has not been created for you to only enjoy the peaceful aspects about it. Regardless of where you are born, with which, let's say, prerequisites you have been born into this world, everyone is going to face challenges. These are different challenges, but you are going to face them, because living this life is ultimately connected with challenges. The question is, how are you now going to deal with it? What can you do knowing that you're gonna walk this lifetime and you will have challenges? Mental challenges, physical challenges. And there I can only come up with an answer. Prepare yourself. Prepare and condition the mind in such a way that you are first of all not starting to run away. There are two things in that, let's say, warrior mindset, if you call it like this, to be avoided. Number one is to run away. Because running away means that whatever just came into your life, you can't learn from it anymore, because there is again distance between that new situation and yourself. And at the same time, there is no connection, meaning you can't have an influence on it. So therefore, number one, face it. Number one, face it. And number two now, and this is also a quite difficult part, no one is born as a superhero. And nobody is naturally born as being a strong and confident personality. These are things that from time to time, from situation to situation, start to emerge from inside of you, because it's growing inside of you based on how you are behaving towards yourself. And now, after finding yourself in a situation that is challenging to you, it also takes a different type of mindset to also be able to say that I'm not well prepared enough. I'm not good enough at the moment to take that challenge. And afterwards, prepare. So that means, number one, don't run away. And number two, be honest to yourself. Those two things, if you keep them in mind and then just put time, effort into practice, I think is the key to step by step build something up about yourself, about your life, about your character and personality that will give you some strong fundament in order to tackle everything that this world is going to throw at you. The two things to keep in mind is you do not look away when challenges come, and number two is you don't blame yourself if at that moment in time you are not able to face it. The only thing you're gonna do is you step back, you take time for yourself, you invest the work and prepare yourself to return. Once you really commit, and also commit to a certain type of practice, that means you need to bring out that discipline. It is that discipline that is fueling up this drive. Because we know that it's not easy. But no pain, no gain. When I'm lying in the bed and the alarm goes on, for example, if I'm trying to convince myself, come, just 5 more minutes, that's a bad idea. Yeah, so that's why I really got used to it rings, and then it's really like, in a way, I try to get out of bed as quick as possible. Then it's done. But in the moment where I start to get comfortable again, it becomes just more difficult. It's because that mind always wants to trick you and test you and challenge you if there's not something that he can still like readjust you. No, but discipline in a way really means it rings, wake up. Because that feeling of not wanting to wake up, that feeling of, but it's hard, I'm tired, whatever, it will pass after some time. And there is no other way than just learning to get over things like this. That's it. We all have it here. It's just that we also know there is a price if you don't do it, and there's a price if you do it. And it's just up to you to decide which of those two paths of development would you like to be in. At the same time now, like looking out at in the society, I also think that sometimes this strong mindset is also not existing anymore because of the lack of movement. There is that moment where the animal comes out. There is that moment where it's like your animal instinct comes out, which is producing suddenly more of this power. There is something which wants to push through it. In the different methods of what we are practicing here, there are also things to call out this type of instinct. But now, the MMA fighters, they have it. Everybody who practices this type of physical activity that at some point is related to a very high extent of energy, let's say. You have that moment where you need to push yourself to bring out that energy, to bring out that fire. But if your daily walk, if your daily week is only sitting in front of your desk and doing, I don't know, office work, that fire doesn't come out. And if it comes out, it goes in the wrong direction. It goes in the direction of the head. It goes into the head because you're angry about something. But this fire of angriness and the fire of motivation are two different ones. Because the fire of angriness is something you cannot, in a way, control. But the fire of motivation, the fire of trying to achieve something for a better version of yourself, is something that if you practice it long enough, you can recall it. Because you have that fire inside of you. Strong mind goes together with strong body. I think there is a similarity with it, because you cannot reach to have a strong body if there is not the fuel behind it that gave you the push, the motivation to do so in order that you finally develop in that direction. So, and a lot of different jobs that are existing nowadays, or let's say the lifestyle, that when hard times come, you just push through. If sometimes these decisions were first-time decisions, where you just had no experience before. But this is the whole point, why it's important to sometimes be faced with different challenges, with different problematic situations, for you to turn on the intelligence and find a solution. But if after the first time you're already giving up, then there's no outcome. Then there's nothing that you have learned. The only thing that you're remaining right now is regret and sorrow, which is neither going to bring you forward nor anything else, because you have not understood the message yet, why you ended up in that situation. You need to overcome it. Your next level of development comes in the moment where level 1 is solved. You found a solution for level 1. Now, challenge number 2. Next level. As long as you don't find the key for level number 2, stay there. Many years, repeating over and over again until you see it. If everybody would have the ability to bring out the self-discipline, you don't need like disciplinary masters. Meaning you don't need a monastery also that takes care that you are keeping that external rules and the external structure. But like, for example, today, all the young guys that came, if they would already be so self-disciplined that they know exactly what they can do, what they cannot do, if they want to achieve something, that they just focus on that, if they knew all of these things, well then, they don't need this monastery anymore. But the point is that no human being, or a few, let's say, or very little, it's difficult sometimes if you are surrounded with different environments to always remind yourself back again. What is the state of being to keep on walking? And therefore, if it is not existing in the beginning coming from yourself, that's why we need sometimes external support. And the same goes for the question, if somebody finds himself in that place of darkness. Either you find a way that you can find some light in there and then make it shine brighter from day to day. Once the cup is empty, now it can be filled up again. What is it that might be the key that you learn to let go of something? And this letting go is of course going to be uncomfortable. Why? Because it is something that no one normally in our school systems, you don't find the subject how to let go. You find the subject how to get more. And so that means in that moment when people are getting confronted the first time with this type of teachings, it's uncomfortable. And so someone is always confronted between here, then he's brought down. Then he gets messaged how he will build himself up again. Then he gets smashed down again. And so it continues. Every time when we as humans feel something is lacking, the answer is just consume more, which means just go out and look where are you going to find something that is going to fill up that gap, to fill up that hole that you are feeling. That is the approach that we have outside. But by observing this type of behavior, I think you can see that no matter how much you consume, no matter how much of these offerings you are taking, you never become full. It's always only a question of time until your new desire starts to arise. It always just fills that small gap, that small hole for a short moment. This feeling that suddenly something has hit really deep, has packed the core. This is the essence of what we call the Zen teachings, the Chan teachings, where the Shaolin Temple belongs into. These are the teaching methods, meaning getting out of the comfort zone is part of the process. If I realize somebody already starts to feel like very confident again, yeah, very bright, then I know, okay, it's time to shut him down again. So someone is always confronted between here, then he's brought down. Then he gets messaged how he will build himself up again. Then he gets smashed down again. And so it continues. Last week you said I should do like this. So you told me to go in this direction. Today I'm asking you the same question, but you are telling me I should go in that direction. And I said, yes. 3 weeks after, Shifu, now you tell me 3 different things. This direction, that direction, and then once again, you're telling me in this direction. What type of teaching method is that? It is for you to figure out yourself after you have wandered between the different extremes that are existing. First, I push you in that direction. Then you walk. Then I tell you other direction. Then you walk there. Then maybe we change again. Then you walk back there. Until you realize it's not here and it's not here. It's all of that. That's possible. Discovering what type of a person you are, what type of character you are. And just to reset yourself for whatever is going to come afterwards. So, and ultimately, what for? Why should a disciple go through all of these, this type of education? Because once the cup is empty, now it can be filled up again.
Today we are famous, and today we are very proud of the Shaolin warrior monks. Why are we always keeping up that word warrior monks? Because they are expressing something. They are expressing something which, when you can feel it, you feel it's something very special to have nowadays. To not give up when the times are getting hard. It's not just the Shaolin who are living this type of spirit, but they also possess it. Because this is what makes the difference between someone that we call a warrior and maybe another person, somebody that we call who succeeds and somebody you maybe call today a loser. The difference is both are going to come to the point where they are facing the challenge and when they are maybe facing also their defeat for the first time. The only difference is that the warrior keeps going. And somebody who does not have enough courage, who does not have enough discipline, who does not have willpower, maybe he just does not have the power anymore to keep on going and going and going after he failed so many times. But because of these failures, because there is something inside of you which feels that you don't want to fail the fourth and fifth and sixth time anymore. Because of this, something else inside of you starts to become very, very strong. We can try in the beginning to remove ourselves a little bit from the wording, because I think everybody who hears the word warrior, he will already have something in the mind what he is considering a warrior to be. We can take any successful person nowadays. I don't think that this person reached his success or reached his position where he is at the moment without having some guiding principles in his lifetime. And one of them certainly is structure. I don't think he reached that point by just doing what he wants during the day. Maybe right now he's in the position that he can do what he wants, but how he got there is not by doing what he wanted. He put himself a structure, he put himself a guideline, and no matter how he felt during that day, this was the code, this was the mission, and this is what he kept. If you feel tired or not, if you are in the mood to do it or not, you had your structure and you kept it. Don't lose sight. Don't lose sight. Be open of what the future brings. On the one side, it's also very important to not have too much fixed goals in your own life. So that means don't make too concrete pictures in the mind of how the future should look like.
But what all of life's purpose, all of the 24 hours day you do have, is that you can shape the direction of where those goals are going to appear. So it is the direction, in a way, that we are shaping. It starts really with the simple things. Even so that we're in the 21st century and the possibilities of doing and exploring this world are so huge, it doesn't mean that you should freely do what you want at all times. This is not the way of how in the monastery, in the Shaolin temple, we are regarding it as a healthy way of growing. To discover, to explore, to make something from your journey means you need to walk. We need to be active. But now the question is, when you look at your 24-hour day, how much of this 24-hour day is it active, and how much of it is it like waiting, sitting, and passively observing? Yes, so my name is Shi Heng Yi. I am currently the headmaster here from the Shaolin Temple Europe. Father, he wanted me to start practicing with the age of 4, to just join a Shaolin school nearby here in Kaiserslautern, Germany, where I just start my practice. I stayed with whatever I started with and never really gave up on falling into different directions. There came some hard times where I really wanted to give up and didn't follow up anymore on the martial arts side. But my father, in that sense, he never gave me a choice to even consider of quitting something that I started so early in age. In the very beginning, also for me, I have to say that every time I watched the Shaolin movies and every time something about Shaolin came onto my mind, in the first place I was always limiting it in a way to the physical aspects and meaning to the physical abilities of these people, of these persons who were practicing the Shaolin arts. But now, after 34 years, it's, how can I say, it is a very, very important aspect, the physical training. But there will come the time when you simply have to realize that it's impossible to keep up this physicality on the long run. No matter how much performance you can deliver at this very moment. But just due to the simple facts of we are getting old, we are having more restrictions inside our body, it's impossible to keep up that performance on the long term. So therefore, it becomes very, very relevant that there are other aspects about the human, about yourself, which is more sustainable and that you can keep up for a much, much longer time. I became better because I compared myself with others. I saw how others were doing their performance. I saw how skillful other people were. And that's why I looked up to them in the beginning and tried to ask myself, okay, they can do it. How can I try and get to that point as well? And so that means competition, and that competitive mind in the very beginning was an important aspect of, how do I say, of challenging yourself and of also trying to get the best version out of you. But meanwhile, things just have shifted a little bit. And the purpose right now, why I'm training, why I'm still pushing myself, now it has shifted that I don't have the competitive mind in comparison to somebody else, but now it's really to myself only. And that means that it's endless in a way. It becomes endless, this path of how much you can grow, because you simply just take yourself as that one person that you try to improve. And at the same time, because now it's yourself that you are taking as this idol and as the best version comparison, this also means you have a much deeper insight into the person that you're comparing yourself with. Because before, you saw the physical abilities and you saw the skills of another person, but sometimes you didn't see their character. But now, because it is yourself that you are facing with, now you can dive much deeper into what you are actually made out of. Humans like stability. Yeah, to be stable, to be balanced. That means, also now talking from the martial arts, when you start your training, no matter what type of system it is, the first things you normally learn in the martial arts is the proper way of standing, which means the proper way of aligning your body on the earth. Because we say, if you cannot stand firmly, no matter what type of techniques and applications you're trying to do afterwards, they can only be as good as your foundation is. And this foundation means for us stability of the body, stability of the legs. But now trying to translate this into the modern way of living a life, I mean, it's very, very similar. You can start off easily nowadays to try and become famous very quickly, try to build up a very high level lifestyle. But the question ultimately is, all these things, one day they will reach their peak and they will vanish again. And then the question remains, what is the foundation that is going to hold you up? Because sometimes living a fast way up also means it's going to be a fast way down. That's why very often we say, just look outside the tree. It does not happen in the whole universe that you are planting this tree on one day and 1 week after you have that huge tree standing in front of you. It's just not happening in this world. When it comes to such a word like balance, it's not that you know from the mind that you do something about it. It is because you can feel that something needs to be done. It's like if you try one day, maybe when you have a child, and try to explain to him how to ride the bicycle. You can tell him, in order to ride the bicycle, you need to learn to be perfectly in balance. So the left side of your body and the right side, there must be 50-50 of weight distribution. Front side, back side, 50-50. It doesn't matter how long we are going to explain it to the child. You know that the child understood what balance is in the moment where he can ride the bicycle. Because then you know he just discovered something. Now he has it. And the same is like now for us. So that means now it's not the bicycle that we are riding. Now it is your life. It is your life. It is the things that right now are happening in your life. It is the amount of how many bad messages, let's say, are you receiving at the moment? Yeah? How is your sleep at the moment? How is your appetite at the moment? How is your general mood at the moment? All of this right now together, this is where you start to get a feeling for it. You feel, this is my life. This is how my life feels at the moment. And when you now feel that something is not correct there, then you balance it out. And the easy way to just balance out, this is what we describe as there is an observation part and there's an active part. For many, many people, I think to start with those two levels of balancing would already be enough. That simply means maybe you are too active in some parts and maybe you're too passive in other parts. No matter in what you are investing it, every one of us has 24 hours that we can work with. Any other skill that you can develop in this world, any skill must be nourished over and over again. And this is why there is the saying, for example, the real skill, the Kung Fu, what we call Kung Fu, yeah, it's a skill attained by investing a lot of effort. And the only way in order to express this is by repetitive structure, repetitive movements. And therefore is the saying, perfection comes from repetition. Because this is also why somebody becomes so good in filming, making very nice video shots, very nice footage. Why? How come? I'm sure he very often had his camera in his hands. Somebody who is practicing or is in the martial art fields, his lifetime, his 24-hour day must be filled with martial art way of life. So in order to know in what is a person good in, you just need to look at the 24-hour day, at the 7 days a week, at every month, and at the last 2-3 years. And then you can very much tell already what type of skills a person, for example, can develop or has developed. If something appears in your lifetime that you like, you see something that you like, or you hear something that you like, so something comes there into your lifetime and you like it, then we say, don't pull. If something appears in your lifetime that you don't like, that means that you would normally reject. There we say, don't push. So I like it, that's why I want to keep it as good as I can, and I want to bring it even closer to me. Then what is going to happen is one day when the time comes, whatever you try to pull towards you, it's simply going to move even away from you. At the same time, something comes and you rejected it right from the beginning. It's just a question of time until whatever you push away from you starts to move very close to you. You just need to watch around you from the moment that we are born. From the moment that we are born, your amount of inhalation and exhalation is exactly 50-50. The amount of days and the amount of nights until right now, it's 50-50. Nothing stays the way how it is. Success never stays success, because success is based upon failure. A healthy person never will stay only healthy. He is healthy because sickness exists. A rich man never stays rich forever. He's only rich right now because poorness also exists. Maybe one day we're gonna ask ourselves, there must be another way of handling and walking through this lifetime without always being caught inside these up and downs of life. Yes, and this is how I would at the moment express what that whole expression and idea is about: harmony, about balance, about stability, about unity. No matter if you are going to be rich in this lifetime, you don't lose yourself. There is that one person in this lifetime. That person cannot be raised more than he is, and he cannot be lower more than he is, because he has always been stable. No matter how many compliments you give him, he will always remain stable. He won't raise up. No matter how much you insult him, you cannot insult him, because you cannot get him down, because he is always remaining in the stable state. He's unshakable. It's always worthwhile to strive for something that you regard as important for your life. Something that you have attained, you are going to lose. Attainment is there because you can lose it. But attainment also means it's not you. You are the one who can attain things. That's why don't identify yourself with the attainment. Don't identify yourself as rich. You can be rich, but you are not richness. Because richness will leave you one day. But if I can be rich, I can be rich. But if this richness one day leaves, well, then it left, but I am still me. That's the difference. I can be a successful person, but I am not success. Because if you are success, you're gonna lose it. Yeah? And so this is it's just a small mental switch, I would say, that makes the difference. How do you want to express yourself in this world? When you set yourself a mission to have the vitality, to have the power, to have the mindset, to have the determination, to have the willpower, just as we know them from the Shaolin warrior monks today. And it's not just in our tradition where I am coming from right now. These were the idols that I grew up with. But maybe if you would talk to another person which maybe has his descendants coming from Japan, maybe he would take the Japanese samurai as an example of the warrior codex. Maybe you go to the United States, I don't know, maybe over there you can take the Navy SEALs as an elite special force, which is also expressing a very powerful mindset in many different ways. So different cultural traditions had different idols, different type of powerful spirits that you can look up to. And from where I come from, these were the warrior monks. Hardship is never easy. When it comes to the pure practice of the martial arts, so the Kung Fu training, there is an expression which is sometimes called, if you make this education to a Shaolin master, to a Kung Fu master, you are normally walking through the valley of pain. Yeah, this is how it's expressed. Because it involves a lot of physical conditioning, a lot of physical challenges that you need to cross. That means it happens in the stretching, it happens when you are just building up your stamina, it happens when your body starts to grow, it happens in every single aspect that you need to challenge your body, and you need to challenge especially the mind. So this is the one side of it. But by far more difficult is really to decide how committed are you to really do something about your life?
Thank you to everybody at mulliganbrothers.com, where you can now get the hoodies, the t-shirts, and the Inspire Change hoodies dropping very soon
Repetition
as well.
is your friend, not huge jumping. It is the repetition of things that starts to embody something inside of you. So instead of making huge plans with huge steps, better think about how to structure your 24 hours and put a little bit of what you want to develop there inside that day. Because instead of huge steps, what we are using as a method is continuity. That one is your friend. Repetition is your friend. If you have a goal and if you know what type of skills, which tools you are going to need to make this goal become true, I do think you need to figure out how you're going to get to those skills, first of all, and then make a plan and invest in them. And at least in the Kung Fu training, it is like this, that we say some skills, they come after years of training. You might feel the benefit of a certain skill already pretty soon, but ultimately it's repetition. Of course, you can have self-affirmations and use this as a method to push yourself because you want to achieve something. But from time to time, it's really necessary to test yourself. You talk to yourself, you give positive feedback to yourself, you give affirmations to yourself. You can create an image about yourself. And then from time to time, you need to make the test. If what you imagine to be is who you are. That is the important step. Because if you do not do the testing, then it's pretty easy that sometimes you're going to get lost. Lost in the world of your thoughts that sometimes have nothing anymore to do with how life for you really is. You live in a dream world. You live in a fantasy world. This can happen very quickly if you are using too much of these type of methods. Music, self-affirmation, visualization, all of these things, if you do not test. If you test, you can use everything. Because from time to time, that test is just gonna show you, and that's where you really are. And then you readjust. But if you have all of these methods which pump you up, but you never do the testing, then I would say be careful about that one. So I think there is something which lies in our hands, and there is something which sometimes is not dependent from whatever we are doing. But in the moment where your actions are in harmony with, let's say, some energies, some possibilities that at that point in time are anyway apparent there, something can happen. Before you know in which direction to sail, First of all, you need to know where you're located, because the journey is not for everyone the same. Ultimate plan which direction to travel is something everyone personally must do. But therefore, in order for you to know, to now start and making up the plan where the journey is going to go, number one, we figure out what is our current state. I do think that if you are looking at the world already with predetermined concepts, looking at the world already with some type of expectation, then it's going to be very difficult to really see how the things are. That many emotional states, many thoughts that are coming, they come and they go. None of them lasts. If you think this world is about you, think again. Maybe you misunderstood something. If you can't handle the little things, you will not be able to handle the big things. That's just how it is. So that means the small things matter. The more your willingness and your ability to let go, the more changes are gonna come. It's just like this. For new things to come, old things must go. And now, just as I mentioned, there is the willingness, first of all, to let go. And then there is your skill level, your abilities. Can you, even if you want? And there it is now also good to know. By practicing certain methods, many of them that I told you already, many of them that are also available. By using them, there is a certain degree that you can already help or support yourself in letting go, learning what does it mean to let go. But sometimes there are also things that are caught within us that you just cannot reach by yourself. And this is the moment where sometimes you need support. Where sometimes, even if the willingness is there and you even maybe can see what it is that is stuck inside of you, but sometimes you need a person, more persons, or sometimes you need an additional support to get rid of it. So this is also important really to understand. I think one of the main hindrances, I would call it like this. What is hindering someone to get answers or to get to the methods? I think it is the lack of time that you are spending in investigating yourself. Yeah, meaning too many things nowadays are outsourced. You are outsourcing maybe your happiness to outside circumstances. You are outsourcing your health to outside circumstances. Yeah, so you are outsourcing a lot of things where we think, yeah, but they should belong into your hands. I cannot imagine somebody, this powerful nature, this force of the universe is putting you as a human being on this earth incomplete. Meaning incomplete to deal with the challenges that this world is going to offend you with. So what I'm talking about is, for example, the immune system. I think when you have the right methods to improve, to boost up your immune system, you can face a lot of different sicknesses by yourself. Doesn't mean that you should only rely on this, but it's already a big part that can help you. A great power lies in the ability. When you spend more time with yourself, you will realize that a lot of medicine, a lot of high technology is already embedded inside of your body, inside of yourself. But it is like a trend anyway, that many things are outwards oriented, but which is very normal. This is what we say. In the morning when you wake up, it is something very, very natural that is happening, that you open up the eyes, you get out of the bed, and so then it starts to be normal that you are interested in what's going on out there. Which means you look at the mobile phone, you look at the television, you look outside, you listen to things that are around you. That means awareness is naturally driven outwards of you in the moment where we wake up. So it's natural. This is the natural state. Like I said, if you don't pay attention, it's getting out of you. Therefore, what is it that the first step I would suggest somebody is doing, and what is also lacking nowadays, is the time that you realize this. To just realize one part of human existence. Is it that our awareness is naturally being driven outwards? So, in order to create the balance, what we do with all the different types of methods is to regulate this. To regulate and keep an eye on the amount of time and on the amount of awareness that we are allowing ourselves to get lost out there. So that means, first of all, it's important that you see it on yourself first. Which means you don't turn the view out there and look out. The first thing to do is you turn around and see yourself. Because then in the moment where you are doing this, you are going to see yourself. And this is the beginning, where once you spend time with yourself, the insight comes. Because all the time we are interested in seeing what is everything existing out there. And it is one approach. This approach is that things are becoming, even the traveling, the journey becomes quite long and quite big the more far we go out. So it's like, first I stay inside my monastery. When I go out, I'm going to be inside this village. I go out, I'm going to be inside Germany. I go out, then I'm in Europe. I go out, then I'm on the earth, on all different continents. Then I go more out, then I'm in the solar system already. Then I go more out, then I'm in the Milky Way. Then I go more out, then you are in many different galaxies. Then you go more out. It's getting always bigger and bigger and bigger. This is also an interesting way of spending your life. Yeah. But there is one thing which not everybody is able to afford, this type of traveling. Yeah, maybe Elon Musk, he is, yeah. But not everybody has this technological and also financial capabilities to make this type of journey. But now the interesting part is that in the Asian culture, we are saying the so-called macrocosmos, that the world is always getting bigger on the one side, is actually like a mirror to the so-called microcosmos. And microcosmos means it is now not the journey where you travel outwards, it is the journey where you are traveling inwards. And instead of things becoming more big, you watch inwards, things becoming more fine, you become more refined. So first of all, you realize, okay, I have the body, Then you watch in, oh, I have the skeleton, I have the muscles, I have the fascia, I have the organs, I have all the blood vessels, I have the energy systems. And you get more deep and more deep, and there you realize also different things inside of you. You go down, maybe you meet some atoms. Inside the atoms you have the proton, the neutron, the electron. You go even smaller, then you maybe have the quantums and the quarks. I don't know. The funny part is, on the one side it always gets smaller, on the other side it always gets bigger, but those two things still have something in common, which is, just as an example, cyclic movement seems to play a very important role. Doesn't matter in which world you are now. When you are in the outside world, our Earth is turning, we are turning around the sun, the solar system is turning, our clock is turning, a lot of things are turning, and you go down, our respiratory system is connected in a circle, let's say, the inhalation, the exhalation, our heart, how the heart is pumping the blood, let's say, through our body, is also a circular system. And the digestive system, the way how we exchange energy with our surrounding, get it to us, it's happening in cyclic movement. The atoms are moving in cyclic movements, so there is something in both of these areas that remains the same. And this is one type of where I say to investigate and understand the rules on which you play the chess, or on which this life is based upon. Because then things become a little bit more helpful. Because once you know that there is this cyclic movement always and always, then at the same time you also know, if you do not want to waste energy, you try to reduce, for example, the amount of linear behavior, linear movement that you are doing in this lifetime. Meaning you investigate something that ultimately anyway comes to a hard stop. But what does this hard stop mean? It means that all the energy that you have invested on one point is just going to vanish. But this is kind of pointless. So what is it that you can then do? Transform. That's why we call it transformation is something really important. Because transformation only means it maybe doesn't look like the initial investment of your energy. It is because this energy is able to take different forms and different shapes, but it's still the same investment from your lifetime that you gave into this life. Right now we have 8 billion people in this world. Everybody has his own ideas and his own expectations, maybe, how he sees himself and what he would like to do with himself during this lifetime. So that means we have 8 billion different ideas. And one misconception maybe, or just something to meditate about, to contemplate about, is why would this world, why would this life, or even this universe, now I express it a little bit in a negative way maybe, but why should this life care about an individual's expectation about life? And now we are not just having one, we're having 8 billion individual expectations about life. But for me, in my mind, it's just like, we are talking right now about the creator of everything. The creator of the universe, the creator of the planets, of the humans, of the animals, of the plants, of all possibilities in this world. We are talking about this type of force. in comparison to the expectation of an individual human. I'm not sure who is in the more powerful position at the moment. I mean, I am sure. The thing is just, I don't think that this type of force is existing in this world in order to fulfill that individual person's expectation about life. I think it's the other way around. I think that you have been put here on this world as a small individual in order now to be open. In order to be open, in order to receive what that force has to offer you in this lifetime. Which means you are walking through this lifetime without an own idea, more or less, what to do with your life. You are open to receive what this life in a way has to offer you. And how do you know that you are getting these messages, or how do you know that you are on this path that I'm trying to at least present it a little bit graspable to you? Now just imagine you are working on a project, no matter what type of project that is. You invest a lot of effort, a lot of time and a lot of energy into this project. But no matter how hard you try, you are not succeeding somehow. Even though you watch around, other people make similar projects, but they invest way less energy than you do. But they are succeeding. Or you're already together the third or fourth time together with a partner. The first 3 times you broke up because you realized there is something which apparently is not fitting. But because of your hope, you go the 4th time into this relationship. But again, you're just about to feel that something is not resonating there. And no matter how much you try, it is hard for you to make it work. And often in such situations, then you might ask, yeah, I'm working so hard. Why am I not deserving finally the success of my work? Or when it comes to the partnership, why don't I deserve to have this partner, this woman or this man in my life? This is the one way how you could ask. Or you turn around and ask it in a different way. Maybe this universe doesn't want you to succeed in exactly this project. The universe wants you to succeed, but not in that project. You have disciplined your mind. You have taken your own responsibility into your hands, that the life quality, the way how you are perceiving this lifetime, it's up to you. It's up to your practice. It's not to wait until the outside circumstances and your government and this world is going to create your dream world. It's not going to happen. It's about how can you contribute? How can you as an individual contribute to bring out this world that you imagine how it should be? And this is how I see, for example, why I'm doing this type of work. I am trying to share out what I think is missing. And this is just for my part. I think this is missing. I want to see it more in the world, in my dream world. That's why I contribute to make this dream world now start to manifest a little bit. Yeah. And this is how I think, at least for me, is quite a fulfilling way, because I don't wake up and have the feeling I'm wasting my lifetime. Because this probably would be like one thing. Sometimes I think when I look into the future, one of the worst things that could ever happen is that you one time just wake up, are old already, look back at your lifetime, and then you start regretting that you didn't do something with your life. This is really something that I don't want to be in. That's why right now I'm already very careful in what do I invest my lifetime. If it's not important to me, then I don't do it. If I think it is something that gives me additional value, then I do it.